Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Felicity McVeigh, Director of Content Partnerships for Australia and New Zealand here at TikTok. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my guests today. First up, I'm joined today by Lee Namo, Head of Online at Screen Australia. Lee is responsible for managing the Online Production Fund, as well as initiatives such as Digital Originals with SBS and NITV, and Every Voice with TikTok, a funding initiative we'll be talking more about later. Also, Lee is no stranger to content production, having started his career as a stand-up comedian and singer, and was a founding member of The Axis of Awesome, a musical comedy trio best known for their four-chord song, which currently has over 150 million views online. I'm also joined by creators Monique Terry and Hannah Ray Megan, who co-wrote and starred in The Formal, a series on TikTok that has amassed over 5.2 million views, and which follows two very different girls as they plan the biggest night of their lives, the Year 12 Formal. Welcome, Lee, Mon and Hannah Ray.
Hello.
Hi. It's great having you here. So, Lee, I would love to kick off by first asking you, what excites you about TikTok?
Hey, Flick. Look, great question. My whole department, my whole remit is around finding new emerging creators, exciting projects that are taking Australian stories to the world. And at the moment, there's no better place than TikTok to find an audience, to find that specific part of the internet that will really resonate with your content. So it's such a great platform with such a huge and growing audience base.
Oh, thanks, Lee. And you have such an exciting role. Tell me, though, on a personal note, are there any particular worlds of entertainment that you love on TikTok?
Look, I do get a fair bit of musical comedy. It's interesting when you compare your For You page to others and people are like, oh, that would never come up for me. But there's a great Aussie musical comedian, Tom Cardy, doing great things at the moment. We were talking earlier about food talk, and I get a bit of, recipes. Some good, some not good. But, it's exciting and interesting to try new things like, broccoli stems. Who knew you could cook with them?
I must admit, I haven't seen that recipe. Now, to you, Hannah Ray and Monique, it's so wonderful to have you here, and I'm such a fan of The Formal. Now, for everybody at home, you both wrote and starred in The Formal, a series which chronicles the two of you as fictionalised versions of yourselves in a mockumentary-style narrative. As you plan the Year 12 Formal, you find your newfound friendship developing into something more. Girls, why do you think The Formal found an audience on TikTok?
Yeah, I think we were really lucky because I think TikTok has a really wonderful LGBT community already there, and we were able to kind of move into that space. And I think TikTok's wonderful because it is a global platform, and The Formal, while it is an LGBT story, ultimately it's a comedy about love, and a love story is a love story, it can be a global story. So we were really lucky. We found our audience and they liked us. So yeah, it was great.
We basically uploaded our first episode on TikTok with no followers, we'd never made an account before.
Yeah.
And pretty much overnight we got 75,000 followers, and it blew up. We found a community really, really easily and quickly because they were able to find our video. And from there, we've been able to build up just a massive community of people who like to watch our little show, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. It is so exciting. And I think, yes, you haven't been limited to a single audience. You've tapped into queer audiences globally, along with Australia and nostalgia, comedy, romance and more. There really is universal appeal with your series. Were there any in-app tools that you took advantage of on TikTok to help tell your story?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we loved the live feature, going live, being able to talk with the audiences. We put out the season finale of season 1, jumped straight on, had a big chat with everybody, and that was so much fun. We were able to use subtitling to make our videos really inclusive, and music. We loved using music for all of the promo stuff, which was great.
Mm-hmm. You could go on to the trending music.
Yeah.
We always did that for the promos, and it just allowed those videos to get so much traction because of literally just the music, the song that we chose.
Absolutely. We hear that often, that TikTok is such a great music discovery tool. And if you can tap into what's current and what's trending, it's a great way for you to get that extra reach for your content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Lee, Screen Australia recently partnered with TikTok and New Zealand On Air on Every Voice, an initiative aimed at supporting diverse diverse and distinct voices in the creation of innovative, episodic, scripted or factual content for TikTok. Are you able to tell us a little bit more about the submissions that you received and what these stories are about?
Some of the more exciting projects that stood out, there's a great Indigenous team from New Zealand doing a series Te Pātata about Indigenous creatives all over the world. A project back home in Australia from a team looking at the hot button issue of transgender people in sport, but told from the point of view of a former professional athlete who stepped away from the sport to transition, as well as a great comedy about dating in your 20s as a person of colour. It's a really wide range of applications that we got, and we were really happy with them.
Yes, well, for everybody watching, make sure you look out for every voice because the fund recipients are being announced, so you'll be able to learn more about them. So, Hannah and Mon, what's happening next with the formal?
Well, we're so excited because with the help of Screen Australia, we are going to be making a season 2 and a season 3 of the formal. I know, we're really, really excited to create more for our audiences. And honestly, we've fallen in love with TikTok. We love the way that it works for creatives and how we can, be so personal with our audience. So we're going to continue to, create more series for the TikTok platform, maybe working with different brands, different creatives, and focusing on queer content, definitely.
Fantastic. Would you have any tips for aspiring storytellers on TikTok?
So a good tip would be to keep your posting consistent, post at the same time, on the same day, so that your audience knows where to come and when to come. And just the biggest thing for us was just talking to our audience and making it more of a community on our page. Yeah.
I know we've spoken previously about the role that comments play for you guys and getting that real-time feedback from your audience. Did you want to share anything about how you deal with comments, and do you actually respond to people who post?
Yeah, absolutely. We love responding.
I think the biggest thing for us was that we didn't realise how global our audience was until people didn't know who the Wiggles were. Yeah. So that was a good tip for us to sort of make it a global show as much as it is Australian content as well.
Yeah, that was great for moving into things like season 2 and 3. Being able to read all those comments, take them in, understand them when we sat down in the writer's room. It was amazing.
Oh, great. And Lee, I could see you vigorously shaking your head there when the girls were talking about some tips for aspiring storytellers. You're obviously a creator from way back. Any thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I agree with everything they said, and I think it's important to find that voice. What is it that you want to say? And experiment. A platform like TikTok is so great for just putting content up. There's never been a better time. It's never been easier to make content. We've all got a camera in our pockets, connected to the internet. Really, really straightforward to get on and just try, get started and start building that fan base, that audience, that community around you.
Fantastic. And in your professional opinion, what's your vision on the future of entertainment?
I think everyone will have cubes on their heads, and that's all that we'll look at. No, seriously, I think that it's about audience. I think it's about that community, and audiences are so fragmented in so many different places. They're on cinema screens, they're on mobile phones, in our pockets, they're everywhere. So it's about finding that audience that's specific to the platform, to the kind of content, to what you want to say, and then just, going after them and speaking authentically to really build up that community around you as you create.
Absolutely. And I think, what really excites me about the future of entertainment is the opportunities that exist for co-creation, that entertainment is no longer purely linear, coming from one source of, like professionally generated content being delivered to audiences, but instead there are these opportunities for people to participate in the process, whether that's through comments or in-app features on TikTok like Duet and Stitch. I have to ask you both, there's obviously a lot of references to Chris Hemsworth throughout your series. You're calling out to him to come to the formal.
Yes.
Have you heard from him yet?
No. And don't know why.
Shocked.
The call has been made, but it makes sense to me. It makes sense to Mon. We're just waiting for him, honestly.
Waiting for Chris.
Well, look, I think that's a great place for us to end. If you're watching this session and you have connections to Chris Hemsworth, give us a call,
Give
right?
us a call.
Please.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, all three of you, for joining me today. It's been wonderful chatting.